And we're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. We have another exciting interview. We have Elvhyne here, and she does a lot of different things. And she's going to share about her story because I shouldn't tell anything. I'm going to just let her tell the story. So it's going to be interesting. So, Elvhyne, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being a guest, allowing me to be a guest.
Yeah, absolutely. So, why don't we start by you just sharing who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Elvhyne, and I'm a grief health coach, and I also love and a part of the running community, and I'm an international marathon runner. And I'm also a mom, and I went through and am a neuro-linguistic practitioner, master practitioner. And yeah, I delved into the personal development field about 8 years ago. And yeah, partly because my husband died from liver cancer, I needed to shift a lot of things in my life. And that led me to the path of in the personal development field and shifting my health focus.
Oh, so was the loss of your husband, is that why you focus on grief now?
Part of it, yes. And also, yeah, at the time I had two teenage kids, and I wanted to better support them in their in my family's healing. So, part of the reason is also to be in service to my family also.
I see. So did you learn the NLP and start coaching before your husband passed, or is this something that did that trigger kind of this whole journey to health and wellness?
Yes, it was after the grieving my husband's passing, and yeah, it was uh, NLP was after the other personal development field work that I was part of.
So what was that switch that was like, okay, I'm grieving and now I need to focus on myself and learn how to get past this? How did that kind of come about?
It was a lot that I saw the sadness in my immediate family, and I said, we went through enough challenges, and I remembered that my husband said maybe he should be the like part of the gift was that we got to learn from him, and I thought in my mind, well, it'd be good to uplift my family, but and why not uplift my neighbors, or if other people in the community want support, I could certainly be part of that process also. So I thought, yeah, I started coaching in that way, and I just like and enjoy people living healthier. you know the a happier community feels lighter, and I enjoy being part of a happier community.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think we all do, right? I think it's like you said, it's better for everyone if we're all a happy community. So how would you say you help people get to that place?
um yeah, part of the or my process of health was I joined the running clubs and running groups. When my husband was alive, he died from liver cancer. He died stage 4. The doctors found the cancer late. It ruptured twice. He was already, start chemotherapy early. And then, yeah, my family was in shock. And it was, I think that was the initial spark that led me to I can't let my own kids, have that um, health scare. So, I believe it always starts within. So I had to be the example. And, I started joining the running clubs and I asked my friends who were also in the health and wellness field. Oh yeah, there's a great coach, and because trained for a 13 miler half marathon, and then after about a year, I said, wow, there's people running twice the miles, and they're even older than I am. So like, if she could do it, if he could do it, then I should be able to do that. And then they go, oh, but the caveat is, if you don't love running, can you really commit to running 5 miles on your own? And or 10 miles, or 15 miles consistently. And then yeah, it does for me, because knowing I'm an extrovert, it helped to join a running group and have that a running coach to support. There had to be what I ate had to change. The the nutrition changes had to complement the exercise shifts. So is benefit for me. And some people are introverts and they don't need the running group. I like the accountability of having a running buddy, not just a coach, because if the coach is busy and they're doing their own thing also, your running buddy would be like, why aren't you in, we're supposed to meet twice a week. And there's an additional support system when you have a group that can, and a few running buddies that can say, wait, we're supposed to meet today, even though I'm like, I don't really feel like it, you sometimes that group effort helps, that, hey, we're committed together. And I go, oh yeah, and there is a potluck. Okay, I guess afterwards, there's a meal sometimes, and it makes it more fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. That's great. So how many marathons have you done now?
Um, Well, I count my half marathons, the 13 milers. I have a few older friends, and they're like, only the full marathons count. Like, I count my 13 milers. There's
I,
still, yeah, some people like 2 miles. I don't want to run 2 miles. So I count my 13 miler marathon. So it's about 40 at least.
40. Wow.
I stopped counting during halfway through the pandemic. Um, I wasn't so into the numbers. Part of it was because my own parents, they were declining in health. My mom had a kidney disease, and she had the start of emphysema, lung cancer, and she was a longtime smoker. So yeah, so recently in the past 2 years, my both my parents died, and so there was such a thing as pre-grieving that my family was going through, and being mindful. It's not just me. My kids were close to their grandparents, so they were going through their own grieving process, pre-grieving, and my two siblings. And so it was a whole, the family dynamics changed a little bit because of everybody has their own unique process of grieving.
Yeah, I actually just learned about this pre-grieving stage not too long ago through another grief counselor. And it's huge. Like we're grieving before, like whether, when we know loved ones are sick and they're going through this process of, their final stages of their life, we're already grieving, and, there's not that much support for that. So can you maybe help tell people how we can get a little more support in that area?
Mm, I believe open communication is great, and that also not to expect that, okay, you're a sister or your significant other, or sometimes it's great to just hold space and be a listening ear, and not be like, okay, I gotta fix this. Sometimes it depends on the person, because every individual, sometimes they do want, some people are kinesthetic and they want, yeah, you got to go with me to my meetings and be there. And but sometimes they just want a phone call, and they want someone to listen to her or him. So I guess it's great to ask, like, what do you need from me today? Do you want me to fix it, or do you want me to just listen? And sometimes before, I used to assume, oh, I got to fix it. No, 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 I just want you to listen. I don't want you to do anything.
Mhm.
So I guess being open to what he or she really, needs from you, and don't be attached to it. You got to do it a certain way. And then, um, yeah, because each person grieves a little differently, and sometimes they're in an anger phase, and sometimes they just need a listening ear, or sometimes some people need space, and they're like, no, you expect someone who's very extroverted to always be there, and sometimes they just need space for themselves. And don't give them a hard time if they don't want to be at the meetup or at the family luncheon, because they need some time alone. So,
Sure,
and yeah,
sure.
being uh, a listening ear, and um, be open to what their personal process would, how they want to
Yeah,
grieve. And pre-grieving is part of it.
yeah. Thank you. I think a lot of people needed to hear that and understand that. So we appreciate you sharing that.
You're welcome.
I didn't mean to take the interview down this route, but I you mentioned at some point you want to start a podcast.
Yeah, that's also
Can you?
part of my vision. Um, and yeah, it's because also I know it includes technical stuff, so that's not a great strong point for me. So I'm um, choosing, do I want to? Um, I thought this summer, or I might have to um, delay timeline a little bit, because in I'm in the process of helping supporting my parents' home is going to a little bit of renovations, and my sister isn't able to handle that, so I have to be like a home renovation project manager, another hat that I get to wear. So, and that's going to take a bunch of time. So, yeah, the podcast is still, some something I'd like to process and be in service of communicating with my community that way. Yeah, probably October, like around. If I can create it sooner, it's also because the urgency of creating time for my parents' home, where before my older sister would be um, handling that, she's unable to. So I gotta wear the project manager hat also.
Yeah, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. So when we get to the podcast, though, is it going to be more about the grief? Is it going to be about marathons, or is it just going to be about your life? What are we going to hear on this podcast?
The podcast, I still also love the health and wellness field. Um, and I thought finding a different niche, and then because also um, even as I might even want to, it's like two different themes that I'm looking into. Um, Either creating a podcast around music is a possibility, because I'm also reinvigorating my passion for singing, and the music field has always been a passion for me, and um, health field with running marathons, and like biohacking is a great interest to me also. So
Wow.
because it's not that I'm launching it next month. So I guess you know I was going to ask for, do you just go with your own personal passion for starting a podcast, or do I, also, that's why I'm getting a feel for what the community also needs support in, because I also
Right.
like being in service to my community, and if there's a particular niche that needs a little more attention, maybe I because I'm reinvigorating my music passion, it might center a little more around music instead of my usual health and running theme that I also am a part of.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think if you're listening and watching this and you have thoughts for what the podcast should be about, maybe where you're struggling, and you can let us know. So, so Elvin can do her podcast around that area. I'm sure she'll love your support. Just leave a comment here. Um, and that's kind of what I'm doing, right? Like I set up this health and wellness kind of, Facebook group, and I'm interviewing people so I can find out, where the struggles are and where people need more help and how I should focus. So I think, you know, you're on the right track. So,
Thank you. Thank you for
and
creating.
we're here for your support. So, Elvin, is there anything that we didn't get to discuss that you wanted to share?
I'll because you mentioned earlier that travel was also part of the catalyst that
Mm.
that created your health and wellness journey. Um, do you think that when you're restructuring health goals, um, for this community and the health and wellness community, does it support to have different yeah, I'm curious, are is the community looking towards like more coaching, or do they like a combination of going to a place for like as a goal, like a retreat? Because for runners it's going to marathons, but for and other health goals, do do people like to go to like a wellness retreat? I'm curious, for this community, is that a plus, or is it no, they'd rather like just work with a health coach versus, oh, there's a health retreat in Mexico or in Georgia that they'd like to go to. What are your
That is a great question. And yeah, that I think it's a great question. And maybe I'll make a poll about that so we
okay. Yeah.
see what people think. So yeah, it's a great question. And yeah, like if you're watching and you have an idea, you have a thought, let us know in the comments if you're interested in kind of a wellness retreat or traveling and doing something like that. I think we're both curious. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and thank you
Uh,
for creating this community where people are able to share and collaborate. I'm very grateful for this, to be part of this. Thank you.
yeah. How can people find you?
Um, I'm in Instagram and also in Facebook.
Okay.
And I enjoy collaborating and meeting health and wellness like-minded people that are, wanting a healthier life. And it is more fun in the community. I
Yeah, I agree. So, Alvin, we're gonna have you put your links to your Facebook and Instagram in the comments here. Whatever other links you want to share, you're welcome to put those in the comments.
okay.
And that way, people that are watching and listening that resonate with you and they want to connect with you, they can. And if they have any questions for you, they can put them in the comments or they can connect with you and contact you on your Facebook and Instagram. So thank you for being here and doing this. This was really great. And any final words before we sign off?
And I believe that you're stronger than you believe, and that's that's been a learning process because I was a supporter. I raised two kids, and one went to she's in grad school at Johns Hopkins University, and so I'm about supporting. And the more I delved into the personal development field, it's being super strong on your self-awareness, that when you're clear on what you deserve, then it's putting the oxygen mask on yourself, being truly self-aware. And then am I serve from overflow is a powerful learning. So thank you
Wow,
for allowing us
beautiful.
to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks again for doing this. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I said before, if you resonate with Elvhyne, connect with her through her links. And if you like what we're doing here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive, just comment interview and we'll let you share your story, share your gifts, or if you're struggling, we'll give you the support you need. So thanks everyone, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
at the next one.
Have a great day.